Hi everyone, welcome. Today we're going to be doing a craft that's inspired by The Tiny Seed by Eric Carle. So get out all your craft supplies and let's get started. So in front of me I have a paper plate. Now there's lots of different kinds of paper plates. These ones are thin and they're very movable. And the reason I want one like this is because I'm going to be cutting it, and so it'll be a little bit easier to cut. I also have my cardstock. Mine is off-white, but yours can be white or any other color that you can color on top of. And we're going to be making this craft today. It is The Tiny Seed, and we're going to be using our watercolors. So let's get started by grabbing a dark crayon and turning over our paper plate so that it's sitting downward. Now you'll notice your paper plate has a shiny side. That's the side that you would eat food on. And the other side, which is not shiny and can absorb water. This is the side we're going to draw on today. So let's create the middle of our flower. And we're just going to make a circle that's around that size. You don't have to draw very hard, but you want to be able to see it. Then, if we look at the one that I've created, we have petals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You could do more, you could do less. But that gives us an idea of how many we really need. And I'm just going to start by making petals. You can take your crayon or your marker and do the same. I'm going to do 4 to start, 1 on either side. And just like petals, they can be very different. We want them to be a little bit of the same size. Then I'm going to go in between each of the petals that I've created, create one more petal in each blank spot. I can turn as I go until all of the spots on my plate are filled. And you'll see that I've left a little bit of space between each petal, and that's because I want to cut it. So let's take our safety scissors and let's start cutting. Now, making sure that our hands are far out of the way, we're going to just start cutting our petals. And when we get to this point, that is the part that you will cut. Let's go around and do that for each of the petals. Great job. Remember, if the petals are not the same size, that's okay. We just want to make sure that we cut out the in-between sections so that we can see them and that it looks more like a flower. Very nice. If you need to pause the video to focus on your cutting, you can do that now. Otherwise, let's just continue up together. And my last one, like this, and pop. Beautiful. I love using paper plates because not only are they already a circle shape, but the ends, the side of the plate, also looks like a petal, which is extra fun when you're making flowers. The next part that we're going to do, I'm going to move my piece of paper out of the way. The next part is we're going to keep it here because, again, this side is shiny and this side is not. We're going to have some water in a glass or a cup. We're going to have our watercolor brushes that are clean, and we're going to fill our cup with water, and then we're just going to be grabbing our watercolor palette. Yours can look the same. You might have pigments, you might have a palette like me. As long as it's watercolor, that's okay. You could also use acrylic paints if you had them, as long as you add a lot of water to it, so it's more watery. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a brush that's a little bit bigger, and I'm going to focus on one petal at a time. I'm going to take my water and I'm just going to focus on one petal. And what I want to do is cover only the petal that I'm working on with clean water. Just like that. Now if there's too much water, it will drip off. So just put enough so it absorbs a little bit into your plate. And if you look at it, you can see that it's wet. Then I'm going to take my other more pointy brush and I'm going to pick the color. Now, as you can remember, we're using oranges and reds and yellows. So let's start with our oranges. And we're just going to dab. And what you'll see, because you've added the water already, is when you touch it, it starts to blossom, just like a flower. And that's exactly what we want to see. If it runs off the side, don't worry. It doesn't matter. You can add a little bit more water as you go. And you can also use a paper towel if there's too much water. I'm going to rinse. It's okay if I have a little bit of the same color on. And I'm going to go back in and add maybe another lighter color, orange. And you'll see it blossom. How pretty is that? All the colors are coming back together. Now I'm going to take my paper towel if I need to. I don't need a lot. And I can just wipe my brush. There you go. And I'm going to add some yellow. I'm going to go back in and let it blossom. Now if it doesn't blossom, if it doesn't pop, you know, you just need to add a little bit more water. And there you go. So what we're going to do right now is we'll do one more together, and then I'm going to let you do your own in your own time. So once more, I'm going to get my big brush, water it up, make sure there's lots of water and that the paper's soaking it up, just like watercolor paper would. Wonderful. That looks very wet. Now I'm going to take my brush again. I'm going to pick my color, make sure there's lots on there, and I'm just going to let it blossom again. It's like watercolor magic. I love how it spreads. And I'm just lightly touching it. Go back, get another color. Again. Perfect. And if the water runs off, that's okay. You can use a paper towel or whatever you need. Blossoming. Go back. Get more water. And continue on with my yellow. It's looking really lovely. Perfect. Now what we're going to do is we're going to continue on and do all the rest of the petals, but don't color the middle of the flower. We'll do that one together. Wonderful watercolor work. Now we're going to do the center together. So once again, grab your brush, water in the middle, and if your other watercolor runs into it, don't worry, that's okay. Just going to make it really wet. Boop. You'll see as it connects, maybe your water will blossom out, and that is perfectly fine. Now I just want to take my yellow and blossom the yellow. I might just run around the edge where my black line is, and you'll see that as the water connects on your watercolor, it all starts to run together, and that is beautiful. Now because we are doing our craft together, I'm going to take a little bit of paper towel, and I'm going to dab it. But if you want, you can leave it to dry on its own. That will take a little bit more time. So I'm just going to gently go around and press my paper towel so that it sops up all the excess water. I don't want to go too hard because I want to leave the color, but I just want the water to be less so that when I put it on my other paper, it doesn't drip. Gentle, gentle pats. And that feels like it's probably enough. Great job. I really like the way that that looks. I am actually going to go back in and add a little bit more yellow to the middle. And this time, I'm just going to paint it on. So it becomes mostly yellow, and that looks really lovely. So now that I'm done with my watercolor, I can just put it to the side. I can put my water to the side so I don't spill anything. So what I'm going to do is just take my paper and put my beautiful flower on top. I'm very excited about how this looks. And I'm going to grab my glue. Now that I see where I want it, I'm going to flip it to the wrong side and put glue on the middle of the flower. I don't want to put glue on the petals. I want them to pop up off of the paper. And I'm going to press it down very gently. Wonderful. And that should give it enough glue so that it does not move. Now I'm going to take my black crayon again, and I'm going to lift up my petal and put on a stem with a leaf. Wonderful. That looks really cute. And then I grabbed some greens, so I'm just gonna color in. Now be careful when you lift it, you don't want to rip it off. You just want to hold it up so that you can color. And I'm not trying to be perfect right now. I just really want to create some texture, leaving little bits because I'm going to use my other colors to add different shades on the leaf and on the stem. I like the way that looks. I'll add a little bit more of this. And there you go. That looks really great. Now I'm going to press this down. And it looks delightful. I'm really happy with the way that this turned out. What a beautiful tiny seed inspired watercolor that you just made. You must be very proud of yourself. And you can go on to make even more in different colors. I can't wait to see your pictures. I'll see you next time.